new student, somebody.
No, people suggesting because, last.
I feel like it be more emphasis on the math, and you don't hear too many people building on the alphabet.
Yeah, but that's what makes our dialect, So last week's class, I didn't teach a specific plus lesson, God. And my thing is, now that we're on the live, was I'm sharing, I'm putting titles to the last couple of classes, and people's not asking for the plus lessons when I teach them. When I'm not teaching them, they're asking for the plus lessons. When I finally teach them in the class, they're not asking them to go along with the lesson.
Okay.
So then now that lets me know that like what I'm giving is not being used. So then I'm going to ask what is needed to be given.
Going over heads, man. I don't think it's.
That's why there's a rewind button. Yeah. That's why it's a rewind button.
I gotta read this shit 3 times, watch it 3 times.
But that's why I ask people to ask for the actual plus lesson and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Now, people want they say they want that heavy shit, but when you give it to them, they're not. You know what I mean? Yeah. But no, the thing is, I want people to go back, research it, and things like that. And again, this is like with the ethos of me and Day Son. Like it's not really for now. Sometimes, a lot of that stuff. All right, Ronnie, peace to God, master.
Peace.
But I'm gonna go through this supreme alphabet. Just a plus lesson. Anybody that has questions, you can ask them. Leave them in the comments if you don't ask them while this is going on. But this is my plus lesson on supreme alphabet. So don't be saying this is somebody else's shit. This is mine. All right, peace to the God, Saim. Right? Supreme alphabet, along with 120 lessons, are the direct tools by which the core principles of supreme mathematics are articulated and expanded. The alphabet particularly allows one's understanding to be shared as a complete dialect and language of versatile and useful communication. The supreme alphabet is a noted numbering of each letter in the English alphabet, where each letter has its own particular meaning of 1 or 2 words. This absolutely does not make the English alphabet supreme. Rather, the supreme alphabet is an application of supreme mathematics, highlighting select principles, ideas, insights. While supreme mathematics is the nature of the creator, God, Allah, and the detail of the law and order of the universe, creation, the earth, the supreme alphabet is not as definitive. It allows one to apply supreme mathematics to a further extent. This swift and changeable fluidity is why strict, rigid builds on the supreme alphabet's letters are even more worthless than usual. The following build is all plus lessons meant to share immediate insights and unique understanding that may be of use to the student. As the tools for a supreme language, there could be no definitive answers thought. All answers must be proven right and exact. When building with supreme alphabet, the number of the letter reveals its direct relation to supreme mathematics and must always be kept in mind. All right, so I'm trying to go through these these 26 joints here. But one is Allah. The name Allah I'll probably read this right now and take all this time and let people digest that, I guess. You know what I mean? But A is Allah. One A, Allah. The name Allah is an untranslatable word. God, supreme being, is often used in its stead, yet Allah signifies both the one and all. This duality is encompassed with the perfect word, just as the original man is God, whose proper name is Allah. The one original man is Allah, yet all original men are Allah, beyond time and space and any other construct of measure. Within supreme mathematics, 7 represents God as a point in noted development that the entire supreme mathematics is when counted 1 through 9 through 0 of reaffirmation through rejuvenation. However, the reality of Allah is every degree of supreme mathematics and could not be attributed to one. Yet with the first letter of the alphabet, Allah it absolutely may be represented by knowledge, its corresponding mathematical degree. That the true actual fact that is the point of endless beginning is indeed the most consistent revelation of Allah that we must remind ourselves of. Knowledge. The reality of Allah is synonymous with knowledge, as the creator within its own creation grows endlessly at the point of awareness of himself in his universe. And I know that really is concentrated, the way I said that. You know what I'm saying? But essentially I'm saying that Allah represents all the degrees
Yeah.
in some form, some kind of way, all of the mathematical degrees, but essentially epitomized in seven, right? But when we look at Allah, we're looking at the entire reality, and it needs to be um, noticed that if we pick the point, it's always going to be at knowledge.
Yep.
It's always going to be at knowledge that we begin that. Two, the second letter is be, be or born. Everything is being, and yet everything is about to be born. They are states of condition that define the point at which knowledge is in use or used. This is indeed wisdom, where the diligent effort of a true fact and or an original idea is living or vividly shown to be alive. Born being the ninth degree in the supreme mathematics also begins to reveal that the rigid association to degrees is insufficient. The usage of supreme alphabet is fluid in this respect and consistent only to proper understanding, not rote memorization. You see? So the idea of wisdom, too, is in the essence of being, right? But ultimately, it's like a reminder that it's always going to be born as well.
See, hearing you say this make me think of when I hear brothers say, "Oh, you don't mix math with alphabet."
And it's really like a
literally
fear.
have
It's like a fear of the fluidity of it. And I don't know why we do that, because we do have a language with it, and it's supposed to allow us to express new ideas. That's the thing about language. It's not supposed to just express what we know.
Right.
It's supposed to express new ideas and the search for new ideas. To do that, you've got to make new things up.
Right.
And you need a language that allows you to make things up. Right? So that's the thing, Three is the third letter is C. C. The linking of the first 9 letters with the supreme mathematics offer the most direct mirrored insights. With the letter C, the C, SEE, is to really be properly and usefully aware of the purpose of one's idea and or the said actual fact. It links up ideally with understanding because they're synonyms. Right? The fourth letter, D, divine. Right? By the way, I don't really have it in mind. I hate when I don't agree at all when people have C as C, the letter CEE,
Okay.
Spelled CEE.
Right.
I don't get mad. That's what they have and shit like that. But I don't know why we have a wrong English word. I don't know how that helps us, All right. D, divine, the fourth letter. Divine is the purity of perfection, a living reality. The most divine reality is the surrounding environment of a culture that is based on lived understanding. When one's culture has complete freedom, then this standard is done by more than enforced adherence, but a natural way of life. This divinity of perfection is when there are no mistakes, only lessons, when right thoughts of one and the exact of others interact together, and the way of life of a people is so unified, it is a living thing itself. All right? Pretty self-explanatory, okay? Like I said, I'm saying a lot of stuff, but that's what the rewind button is for. You even got the slow-mo. Put me slow-mo. E, equality. That's fifth letter. Equality can only be equated to the fifth degree power refinement when all rigidity is exiled and a focus on the unity of principles and ideas are better understood. Equality is the proposition of one's lived culture powerfully extended. If we could understand this process of supreme mathematics into degrees is a separation of a complete process. That's really what it is. Mathematics is one process, but it's separated when we build on it. Then we can see that power and equality are truly closely related. The effect of one's culture is through power that provokes equality. Study this relationship of transition that this alphabet emphasizes. So I see the alphabet emphasizing this connection. Right? Remember, it's in our greeting too, power equality.
Yeah.
So that relationship is very close. Right? Sixth letter is F, father. Our culture is not a reactivation of patriarchy. Rather, it is a proper placement of all the members of the original family. The balance and productivity of the family is based on the solid foundation, the proper placement and position of the father. His equality manifested is necessary for the family to be guided in the most fruitful manner. Again, supreme mathematics is an application that lets us see relationships Sixth degree is a prime example. All right. Peace goods. All right. All right. I see God's. Seventh letter is God. G, God. God means supreme being. It's etymology. Etymology being a vital social science to trace the earlier usage and often a developed misuse of words over time. The etymology here is literally attributed to a physical being as opposed to a mysterious concept of a mysteriously imagined supreme being. Super being, I should say. Supreme alphabet emphasizes principles by relationships, yet here it is by direct repetition. Take extra note to historical supremacy attributed to the number 7 and its natural placement in the alphabet. Okay, so it's not a new thing. We didn't make that up, though. You know? All right. He or her, the eighth letter in the alphabet. Build, destroy is the concept of universal change with a supplemental note that something certainly is destroyed, what once was there. The universal change is a development of greatest worth and can only be done by the supreme man and supreme woman. What is initiated by the supreme man will be followed by he or her, and so it is indeed inevitable building. Okay. It's only he or her that build. There's no mystery. 9, I have, ninth letter is I. I just have I. Some people have I or Islam. I don't. I just have I. I is an emphasis on the self. Recognize that the concept of Bowen is a fulfillment of reality. Nowhere must this be more relevant than with oneself. The universal change we create must be understood immediately as it affects us. God, I'm going to read what the God said. He said, I like how you said you don't disturb by C, as in cycle, cis, center, cell phone. The C being used as S sound in English words isn't out of order. I'm only don't like the spelling. I don't care for it because, um, let's spell this shit right. You know, but a lot of times things are teaching tools, right? So I don't cry about it either.
Because if the S was there, it probably would be more confusing in a sense. But then it's like
Yeah, because
saying that's
C,
confusing too.
yeah, CEE makes sense because we're seeing that it's also SEE. You know, I say in general though, be careful about spelling words wrong. You know,
Yeah.
unless you're making a record and you went in time machine, you make a record in 1992.
I only do shit like that when I'm building with somebody that speak out.
Yeah, yeah,
Putting CEE every time
yeah.
you
You know.
spelling C. That's crazy.
All right, so now we have the next set, the teams. 10th letter in the alphabet is J, justice. Justice certainly equates with knowledge add on the cipher as the truth of awareness brought into this new cipher. Reality is one's judgment. The judgment begins with the self, and carrying it out is when it's brought into one's new reality. That's what I said there. I said that the truth of awareness, knowledge, brought into the new cipher is one's judgment. The more you learn, the more you knowledge add on the cipher, you're bringing new judgments into it. He said it's assuming that this judgment is based on knowledge, though, but it's still judgment. Before justice is served, someone has to make a judgment, right? Just like when you go to court, right? The judgment has to be before the justice, right? But 11th letter is K, king, the perspective, right? Agreed, Saim, right? Only one who acknowledges the cipher can bring about justice. When I speaking of king, the perspective of the original man must be in the perspective of the king, not merely a citizen in a reactive state stance to supposed outside forces beyond one's control. This is very important because when people say stuff like with this election, um, um, and they'll say stuff that like, oh, we're not, we elected a socialist. It's going to be mess up the world, this and that. I thought we did the knowledge though. I'm seeing God say shit like that. I'm like, I thought we did the knowledge. And if you did the knowledge and you know what a communist is, or socialism, or just did like read a basic Fidel Castro history, or one of Che Guevara's books, you know that the shit that Mamdani says has nothing to do with socialism. It's hardly. That's why he calls it democratic socialism. It's just some reforms.
Yeah.
Small reforms. That's yeah, you know. It is that the king is a leader of guiding decision that directs the people with a strong knowledge, one, of the people's state of growth and development. The other one. When they match his wisdom, right? One in one carries out his rule, right? The knowledge of himself, the knowledge of the people, born the wisdom to carry out that rule. We can only take this position if we learn to see our actions impacting all things directly and indirectly. There's a major difference between us and everybody else. We're seeing how everything we do has the potential or is impacting everyone else. Okay? Crucial. 12th letter L, love, hella right. The unique combination of love, hella right is a perfect commentary on the nature of building knowledge plus wisdom equaling understanding. There is no mysterious heaven or earth, and there's no simplistic acceptance of love as merely an intense emotion. With that said, love is the purest intention, taken into real work, hell, to come out right, more righteous in self awareness and insight. That's it. Simple, and yet
love is the purest intention.
The intention that you take, because we put love into everything. That's the intention. It's not mystery. It's work. The hell is work. Because everything that you see outside that you don't like, that you think you had nothing part of, that is being imposed on you, is something that the mind of Allah imposed. You are part of that. You are of that. We come in the name as that. That means that everything happened because of us. It's like Confucius used to say, you may not be at fault, but you are to blame. Because it's a way of saying, like, you still have work to do. You still have some responsibility to what is around you, even if it's not you that spilled that. If it's not you that did that. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. So you're responsible now, because it's like a short amount of time. People would say, "Oh, it has nothing to do with me," but then 20 years later, like, we don't. Yeah, it was your, because you didn't do anything back then. Now you're 20 years older, and you did. You didn't do anything. So now you are. So it's just a matter of time before you're to blame, But 13th letter is M, right? Master. The 85%, the blind, deaf, and dumb, are submissive and are not merely good or bad, but wildly and dangerously inconsistent to the culture of truth and developed insight from it. They submit to the immediate comforts that surround them in a state of simple survival. The 10% bloodsuckers of the poor conquer the reality around them by corruption, dilution, and destruction of it. The 5%, those who teach the truth, master their reality. They share a culture that is based on the sincerest ideas they have learned from self, 1, and apply the revelations of positive purpose, 3, at their culture, 4. They change the reality around them with a control that provokes the betterment of themselves as naturally as it betters any and all things in their sight. That's what a master is. Okay. 14th letter is now, or end. A crucial principle in the 14th letter is the factors that must be in place to make decisions. The power of decision is in its choice of timing, now, and the definitive mindset needed, end. Acknowledging how one's culture will influence power others is to decide carefully with regard to the moment and the absolute fortitude in carrying out the decision. Let's see here. 15th letter is cipher. Cipher is the proof of infinity, and the intention to this point is to constantly knowledge the cipher. The proper position, equality, is always possible when we become aware in the moment of the power we have or is around us. In a universe of constant equations computing themselves in interactive lifestyles, the cipher is ever changing. Acknowledging its power is endlessly necessary to place ourselves in the proper position, quality to build.
I'm about to blaspheme as soon as this class. I'm gonna go and eat a piece of jerk fried chicken right in front of this Zen palate ass mother.
This is why he's our show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it look so good. You gonna sick yourselves.
I can hardly believe that. That's how I was made blind, deaf, and dumb.
I didn't know it takes some of that.
Gotta be funny. And you know how long I known him. I known him
Right,
like,
exactly.
you know how much fucking meat that I've seen him eat. You know what I mean? And meat dishes and jerk chicken. Yeah, you bugging. Gotta be wildin', man. What about master as a verb, as in to master a skill? You know, what does it take to master a skill? You've got the knowledge of it and you have an understanding of it, right? And it's become a culture, right? So it definitely fits. You know what I mean? I'm speaking. I defined master as like the noun, the master of. You know, and the most important version of this is the master of self, master, right? That's why, you know. The 16th letter is P, power. Another supreme mathematics degree associated with a different mathematical relationship. As supreme alphabet is a highlight of proper principles of supreme math, the alphabets with double-digit numbers become complete sentence statements that signify a crucial principle and idea. Here, the great power, the supreme influence, right in exact truth of the original man, right, is founded in constantly acknowledging his equality. To work to become aware of the balance he has the power to bring to any and all situations is indeed what makes him true and living God. All right, the one everybody shouts out to women they're trying to deal with. 17th letter, Queen, Q. There is a civilizing factor in the original woman's destruction of the barriers of separation imposed by the oppressive society. When she sincerely acknowledges the original man is more than a mere survival partner, that she herself is in a truthful position to further herself and her family. Building is a real change and not the repetition of consistent survival. To reach this level, the original woman, naturally the earth, and at her best with a holistic mental approach, must first know who God is. Yes, she engages in the activity of fulfilling universal change. Okay? 18th letter is R, ruler, ruler. The rule is an instruction that would carry out furthers a greater plan. The supreme ruler is one who perfectly acknowledges the history, intends to build, and fulfills it with the handing out of the proper rules. These rules build off the universal law of his supreme math, so they are well tested prior to the order given. The knowledge is the history he writes in advance. The build is the ability to carry it out. How could it not reach fulfillment and be born? Okay. The 19th letter, S, self or savior. There is a science to all things, and so it is with the science of born knowledge. The self is the core, as the knowledge is that history written and fulfilling, born of it. Of it is in the ability to share reality that is as useful to self as to others. In this way, the self-builder who is also one who can propel his history to offer his own platforms of progress as forms of development for the children. All right? Peace to the God, Malik. 20th letter is truth, right? Truth is square. The truth is the only wisdom one should speak. The square emphasizes the stance one holds with the truth must be right and exact. Supreme Alphabet is filled with emphasizing principles of interaction with our family and our society. The degree is the ultimate focus on what we must only be speaking, but using and representing ourselves with. Okay. 21st letter is U, you or universe. The mathematics of wisdom knowledge is often seen with useful result as the improper means of taking action before actually being aware of what one is acting upon. This only leads to destruction. However, this letter insinuates you, whom we speak to, and the universe, our entire cipher of creation, is wisdom knowledge. To see this correctly, we must understand a reality as God, the original man, is as the one and all. That we are the master of the finite, this one God, yet part of a reality of all the gods, right? Beyond time and space, the measure of infinity. This is why the original man's proper name is Allah. With this said, we must constantly be in tune with the reality of actions, wisdom, others bring, positive and negative, and that we must often work our way backward in time to be aware, knowledge of it all. It is in the motion of a cipher, and so to look deep and study at the wisdom of creation, the universe, the original woman, and uncover the root in oneself is to come to a better understanding that deepens the cipher. Okay. 22nd letter is V, victory. Victory is in the win is the win in competition. Competition today often designates a loser, and so there's always suffering. However, victory here is based on the success of the interactive reality that is our culture, where the right one ways one has perfectly been with the exact means of employment, revealing our life is supreme. In this victory, nothing loses, but everything not right and exact is lost. 23rd letter is wisdom. Supreme alphabet also emphasizes the supreme mathematics with more emphasis than normal. Here, wisdom is linked with understanding. In its deepest sense, the ways and actions one engages in are propelled by understanding she has already accumulated prior. It is here we can also come to the reminder that no aspect of knowledge is really separate from any other. So, separation in the traditional build on the order of supreme math is really a helpful, though incomplete, example. Wisdom of understanding is also the merging of one's ability to act exactly as they understand. This is where one's power can become endlessly uplifting. Your wisdom is only speaking understanding. It's power in that. There's no way around it. 24th letter is X, unknown. The impossible possibility is the reality that everyone is a distinct reality of creation no one else may create but you. Even in similar fields and actions, one's way of creating will always be unique to another. This is because the wisdom of our culture, right, 2 and 4, that brings about a new equality, 6, is unknown to all, for it has never been done. All creation is unknown until it's done. The creator then must, with his script of action, written history, engage in the appropriate lifestyles, culture, right, 2 and 4, to bring about the new proper position, the equality of his creation. I love that one. I love that one. That's it for me. It's 24. You know? Wisdom, power, right? The 25th letter is why. The question, the word why, as in question. Why is a profound question that is asked by the curious, those desiring comfort and ease, and the most supreme of scientists. Right? The original people are scientists that engage in experiments of truth, as Gandhi said, to see themselves and their world more profoundly. This wisdom, when united with one's power, is a question that answers the self sincerely every time. All right. 26th letter is zigzag zig, meaning knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Okay. The mind is mathematical and the world is then forever patterned. These patterns are most powerful because they are based in the shape of the cipher, holding everything and yet are endlessly able to expand through depth. With that said, every action, wisdom has a foundation of equality. 1 plus 2 plus 3, 1 times 2 times 3, all equals 6. Will ultimately lead to the greatest build. That is zigzag zig. This is what my plus lesson says. There's probably like 2 typos in here. There's like 2 typos, but yeah, it took me years to write this, you know. But
What year you originally wrote that?
this is probably like I wrote a lot of these plus lessons in the 2010s.
Okay.
You know, it's funny that I wrote them when I was in my understanding ciphers. You know, late understanding ciphers. You know? The irony of that, you know. But so I didn't put a date on when I wrote this, but a lot of it probably was written in the. I know it was, but I'd like everybody to take that in. You know, if they have questions right now, that's peace. You know, but I still need people to tell me what they, you know, what they want to do. Like, you know, what do they need to learn? Build with me more often. Sunias97 at Gmail, like some of my students, and let me know, because this is not the Peace course is a specific type of course. I don't want it to just be a Sunias soundboard. Okay, I don't need a soundboard. I have plenty, way too many, so I don't need that. You know. All right. So with that said, no, I don't see any questions here. I'm gonna leave it open for a little bit, but I just kind of muse on it. This idea of the supreme alphabet is like when I say it develops our dialect. If you really look at it, look at the way that we talk and quote degrees and stuff. It's always in accordance with certain aspects of the supreme alphabet, and I don't think that we delve into it enough. And I think a lot of it is because it's a lot of fear of mixing things and Yeah, and I'm like, we gotta let our young, especially, experiment with this. I think in these times, a lot of the reaction of the people on the street is to make things more babyish and more dumber. I say that's a problem, though. You know what I'm saying? Right? Everybody that I build with, the more I care about them, the bigger words I use. You know what I mean? If they feel more comfortable with me, then I want them to feel more comfortable to ask me what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? To see, because these words aren't just bigger for any reason. A lot of times they're not bigger, they're just more rare. They're more rare because they're saying distinct things. Well, the whole point of the Supreme Alphabet is to expand the application of our how we deal with Supreme Math, so that way we could say those rare things. We could say those rare things, you know? Like I was thinking like the illest scholarly effort, right? And your word is bond, God. This is what I was thinking when I was coming here. And you know why? Because of the person I was telling you about, right? A scholarly discourse. There's never been like a scholarly book like discourse about the history of mystery.
That's what I'm saying.
And wouldn't that be worthwhile? Because when I build with people, the first thing I'm telling is like, yo, what you believe is actually a new idea that was given to you. The older idea is not about mystery. And the older you go back in, original people's things, African, Asian, Indian, etc., right? You're gonna see less mystery. So when we go deeper, and I mean deeper into Buddhism, meaning more and more into the ancient texts. So there's got a lot of great Buddhists today that really build on the principles and how to like live it out as a peaceful mindset, like Pema Chodron and others, right? I'm reading one of their books, so it's really good. But I think Pima's a female, but I don't want to do they them or you know what I mean. But we go back into the more ancient Zen Buddhist texts. You know what I mean? The Taoist texts, right? They didn't deal with mystery. They were always saying what is within.
Yeah.
Always what is within. The Tao Te Ching. Many of the best translations talk about translate at least 3 times. How do I know what is John C.H. Wu, which is my favorite. He translates about 3 of the Tao Te Ching aphorisms, and he translates them as the last question is like, how do I know that this is so or this is to be? And he goes by what is within me. It's always looking in the self. This is all a new idea. The Sufis, the ancient Sufic orders. How much Rumi poetry do we need to read to know that he was about that?
So speaking of such, you said that I came across some duels. I guess that was here we go. This was the 6th Fatimid Caliph, and 16th Ismaili Imam, 996. Yo, they got Allah in their name, like last name, like how come be Amir Allah? You know what I'm saying? But these was like Muslims, but I believe they was of a Sufi order as well. You know what I'm saying? But like that's
Sufi in the West and the journey to the East.
That's the first time I actually seen that. You know what I mean? I saw somebody else building on it or whatever. But it was like, yo, we have Muslims, imams calling themselves Allah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, yo, that's
the more farther back you go,
right.
Yeah. The farther back you go.
Tell me what you think it is. If you see any edits or errors, everything has to be right and exact.
Yo, look at this question the God had. He said, what was it he said? The God said, be divine, said, peace. It's off topic, but there's a guy I know probably call himself a 10%. I asked him to jump in the cipher to explain, but he declines. Have you ever heard someone call themselves a 10%? That has to be like the most fakest shit ever. And I say that though because if you call yourself a 10%, you're 85.
They calling themselves a 10%,
yeah.
based on our
or just how he sees the concept. But let's say they do, right? A 10%er that's really a bloodsucker isn't going to call himself that. So you're an 85er that hopes that he's controlling other people. So it's just like a low-level pimp. I wa-
85 who wants to be a 10%er one day. Like,
Right. And the God Saeem, peace to the God, man. When I lived in Thailand before I got knowledge, they have a lot of Buddhist statues in black, and almost all the statues I saw of him, they had what he looked like Bantu knots for hair. That's right. In China, let me see, I can't see it. In China, though, Buddha is completely different. Yeah, yeah. It's where you go and what they're thinking and how they apply it, and it gets things get mutated over time, or they get augmented. You know that I don't want to say that everything gets ruined. Infinite mind, peace to the God. Peace to the God, infinite mind. You know? Yeah, so I'm pretty much done with this. It's a short lesson. I've been here a long time already, so
I got a quick question.
indeed,
Man,
God.
I think I've seen somebody go on this before. I want to hear from you. What's the difference between cipher in the alphabet and cipher in mathematics, and I guess the usage of it? Some say it's not interchangeable. It's the difference.
No,
between
no,
the two.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
Right? So what letter is cipher, right? Right? When I explained it though, it was the knowledge power, right? Every cipher, that's what we're doing. We're acknowledging the power that's in the cipher, because when you go into a cipher, you're recognizing its state levels.
But see, that's
So
you looking at the alphabet based on the math but everybody don't do that.
Yeah, but everybody that says don't do that, they're not using the alphabet at all, God. That's my thing. The alphabet is not being used at all. So we're having something that isn't used, and then you just want to occasionally use it. And so we have shitty builds that I wouldn't even call builds about so many concepts in there. You know, like why are when I address it and I tell people love hella right, whether I build with 85 or I build with students that are already dealing with it, how come that's not a thing where we build that hell is not something that was given to you? Right? We in this hell, and what hell? What hell? Because we wasn't placed down here. We weren't brought here by a stork. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess in the sense of the white systemic,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. But no matter what was done, it's still our responsibility for enabling it, right? If we're all connected in the mind, for us to have honestly look at ourselves and say, if it's still here, then we have a measure of failure as well. And failure is not a bad thing, because that's the people's conception of God, not the reality of God. The reality of God is there's going to be failures, because there's what? Experiments with high explosives. This whole shit of making a devil was about experiments with high explosives. There's no way around that, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Sounds from my favorite hip hop album. Let's see, Simon, you said what I understand was to not mix mass and output in the sense of boning out your name. Yeah, again, like people take it crazy and then go, why is Jamel used to born everything? He had his class was literally mathematical breakdown. So he was breaking down stuff crazy. So when you understand things on a deeper level, I think that you're allowed to experiment with it.
Don't blow yourself up.
For real. Right. So did Fakim, that's right. Yeah.
Father Divine.
Yeah, Father Divine. He did that too. Yeah.
Brownsville's finest, East New York's finest.
I don't agree with it. See, God, I don't do it though. I don't agree with it. You know what I mean?
What?
I never really born out shit and go crazy with it, because
keep it simple, teach it real.
Not just for that though, but you can't prove the origin of each letter placement. So like the word knowledge, it has silent letters, it has other things. That's a long history of reasoning. So I don't want to born it out and accept that the way knowledge is spelled is a magical formula.
No ledge.
Yeah.
Simple. Leave
I'd
it
rather
down. I like
keep it.
that. I like that.
I'd rather
No
keep it
ledge,
simple. You
no
know.
ledge.
But even when you say no ledge, that's still a teaching tool.
But see that keeping it simple kind of plays into
It plays
why
into the reasons
scared
why
and
others are
not
scared. So I don't mind the experimentation. I tell you why I don't do it.
Yeah.
Now, if I was to if I was to go nuts and linguistically study the origins of each particular word and how it got shaped to
Right.
each letter to see, I'm gonna do it too. Then I'm gonna be, you know, but like that hasn't been the course of.
It's like if you're gonna do it.
Yeah, that hasn't been the course of learning. Because look, I see all life as a collision of infinite equations. So when someone says something's a mystery, I just say, well, you don't know enough of the equations. Right? So I think, you know, like just like in quantum physics, so when a certain amount of the equations are known, then things will develop. You know what I mean? Things will develop when a certain amount of equations are known. You know?
But I
and see, if you're right, yeah, you spelling everything. Yeah.
Newspaper, like, nah, I really study that shit.
Absolutely, God. Yeah. So, but I'm saying, like, for the student, for those who are dealing with this knowledge, I think that the discourse of experimentation is there because if we had that rigidness, we don't have any of Dumar's plus lessons, national statements, and his stuff seemed convoluted, but yet it was perfectly explained to so many people, and even our national spokesperson with the
best era of
right
nation
and
with those things that we had.
they
Now that they gone,
they define everything that we're doing. They really did, you know. So I don't. There's such a I think that rigidity for basicness makes people. It turns it to an easier tradition to enforce, you know, and it makes it dangerous. It makes it dangerous. It makes it religious, you know. I worry about that all the time, you know.
Okay, good.
I worry about that all the time. You know, I want things to be taught simple, used simple,
right?
But there's also times for exploration because that's what a scientist does. They explore. So it's a balance between that build degree, right, experimenting with high explosives, and the non-cipher degree, realizing that it has the pursuit become mysterious, has the pursuit become fruitless because you're searching for something that has good science already. Because see, searching for a mystery god in that context is like it's not about the science that was wrong. It's that the science is there and shown and proven, and you're still not dealing with it. That's a little bit different. Right? That's a little bit different. You know what I mean? Yeah, language is crazy, infinite man. Word. You know. So again, this whole build here is like you know, on the supreme alphabet, what I think out of all the things I would build on distinctly, I really feel that it's underused. It's underused, and I think that's the problem.
Underused and undervalued.
Because we don't explore our principles and our theology. What do we think? How do we think? And I think that with the supreme alphabet, that was the point of supreme alphabet.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're doing it. You know what I mean? It's a good point saying English is contextual, not conceptual. You know? But the supreme alphabet can make things conceptual. You know what I mean? And give it conceptions and make distinct certain principles. You know? Yeah. Almost, but it's good. It's peace, guy. It's peace, guy.
Come on, man. I said, I'm expecting it, man.
Pains in the ass. See, they said, man. They said, you know. He's on it though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying when he's on his roster shit.
Yeah.
That vibe, that whole You see, yeah. I got a story for you that's hilarious. I'm gonna tell you later. Infinite Mind knows this story. But oh my goodness. Yeah. But listen, that's all I have to say about this though. So I've been building like here for too long already. But I'm gonna let everybody go. Again, in the comments, if you're building or you email me, my email address is in the description. Let me know what you need to learn so that way I can make this. This is not a Sunya sounding board, okay? Right? Infinite Mind, we make records together. I have tons of places to talk shit. I have tons of places to write essays, all that kind of stuff. Podcasts. I got lots of places to talk. This is where I want to share things that you want to know, okay, about this knowledge of self, okay? And I don't even want to turn it to what I think knowledge of self should be, and turn it into one of those sounding boards in that level, that could be part of it, but not the crux of it, and yeah, these last comments, infinite mind, context is verbiage, content is definition, concept is the ideal. That's so well said. Equality, not you spelled that wrong. No, God, I can't read it, but the brother said EI7. You said the supreme math is building on the day's mathematics. As the next says, what would be the equivalent for the alphabet? That's the thing. The equivalent to me would be to open up that journal and expound on the principle. We got to do more than just be talking out here and everything. We got to be collecting these things. We have enough space to collect these ideas and stuff, And to me, there's two things. If you're not, you got to be eating correctly and training some type of thing for your body in some type of way, consistency, but you also got to start reading and writing. If you're God and you don't read or write in some kind of consistency, I just can't. You're dropping a ball here, because everybody that oppresses you, let's not even talk about everything that could be done greatly. Everyone that oppresses you reads profusely. That's guaranteed. Everyone that oppresses you has someone getting information from people that read profusely. That's So why are we acting like reading? No, that's not really now. And I'm about, man. That's for the gods that wasn't reading, but all the gods were very, very well informed about things that were read, because the shit that was read to them, last I checked, 120 was written down. That was a document. These were written lessons. Then they were taken from the mosque, though, and expounded on, and the framework was to look at them analytically and not religiously. That's where everything changes, though. So every single form that allows us to be analytical is what we need to do. And working out the principles in Supreme Alphabet in accordance with Supreme Math, as it should be, as it was made, is the analytical exercise of a deeper experiment that just tell me, how you see it, and you just riff. That's what most of it is. It's just riffs, And then people use their Facebook page or Twitter and stuff to build, and we just see riffs. That's not an expounding, Man, your word. Shout out to Lord Graceful. Malik. Yeah. Infu said scholars in this nation have taught me about the importance of research and scholarship, true meaning of showing and proving, not showing and telling. Exactly. And I think we need to we're talking about breeding, right? We're talking about breeding, not grafting. Breeding, right? Not the grafting, but the breeding, right? People, we got devils like the devil that made his own nation, put his hands in the ground and shit, But these guys were trying to do eugenics, though. But instead, we're supposed to be breeding the mind. We're supposed to be developing something greater out of the mind. Weeding out certain things. And the Supreme Alphabet is such a great tool, though. Allah took the time to figure this shit out. He figured it out, and you're not using it because you don't want to mix it. That's like, somebody gave you these incredible ingredients. You said, I don't know if I'm going to put them in the salad, though.
Right. Listen.
Yeah.
It busts my head all the time. Man.
This shit is like olive oil. You know what I mean?
You live?
Yes. Oh, God.
Are you sure, son?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure if this really on. Is he sure it's on? You sure it's on, sir?
Yeah, they say use it full form right now.
You sure it's on?
The hard way.
Read the hard way. Understanding the hard way. That's the best part.
Peace to the Garcia wives. Yeah. So guys, that's pretty much it's the build hour. It's time for me to go. Right? But email me.
Good.
Let me know what you want me to build.
To know you're alive. You're gonna switch,
Right.
you're gonna switch on your polo boots for your polo moccasins. It's to know you're alive. It's just a
Yeah.
happy feeling.
I didn't bring the cardigan. I gotta bring the cardigan. Yeah.
Wake up ready to say, I'm gonna quote mathematics today. It's such a good feeling, a very good feeling.
Remix.
The
Now we
feeling
got
you know
the Peace Course
that we are black.
intro.
Outro song.
We got an intro.
Attitude,
There we go. The Peace Course
Original.
theme song.
and we've got more ideas for you. And you'll have things you'll want to build about. I will too.
Peace, God.
I study
Peace.
and learn about myself. Islam.
Peace.